Welcome to the Online Success Journey podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey podcast, Patience.
Welcome to Online Success Journey. This is episode 357. We have a wonderful guest for you today. So make sure to click and subscribe right now. Ensure you never miss a journey. I post one episode each week and each guest has a fascinating story to tell. Today we have Noémi Beres, the co-owner of the Podcast Connections podcast booking agency. She helps entrepreneurs and business owners share their knowledge and connect them to quality podcast shows. Hello, Noémi.
Hello, Patience. Thank you for inviting me to be on your show. It's a pleasure.
Oh, thank you for coming. My audience are so excited to hear your story. Just start by telling us one thing we are going to learn from you today that will help us on our journey to success.
You will definitely learn how to get on podcast shows. So if you don't have an agent, but you want to get on podcast shows, I have a few tips, in my head, how to help you to get on those shows and get yourself in contact with the lovely hosts out there. So that's how I can help you today.
Wow, I can't wait to hear more about that. But let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my audience a little bit about your background, about what you did before you started your own business?
Sure. I'm originally a linguist by trade. I speak a couple of languages, Swedish, Danish. So I studied linguistics and have a master's degree in linguistics from Hungary. And I basically accidentally ended up in the online business world in 2007 when I left my corporate job and I got fed up with it. And I told my husband that we have to do something. We have to start an online business. That was back in 2007, that was the early age of online business. So that's when we started our first business, which was actually a travel-related online business. And that's how we started. And that was back in Ireland, because before Cyprus, we lived there. And that's where our story started.
Wow, what a background, Noémi. But why do you do what you do?
That's a great question. The story continues, so I can answer your question. So in Ireland, we were working with our online business, and then we moved to Cyprus. And the online business and the travel business related work still continued until, COVID hit the world. And unfortunately, like everyone else, travel related businesses suffered a lot during that time. And at that time, my husband got in touch with his mentor, with his Irish mentor, and he recommended him to start something in the podcast world because podcasts are getting really popular. And we became really interested in it. And basically in 2 years ago, we started our podcast booking agency, our boutique agency called Podcast Connection. And that's how the whole story started. So,
Let's put him on aside. How did you know you were successful?
I think from an early age, my mom and dad raised me like that. So you have to have confidence. You have to believe yourself, so others will believe in yourself too. And I know that I'm persistent, I'm consistent, and that's how you can be successful. And of course, a lot of work as well.
Why should you be a podcast guest? Isn't the market really overcrowded now?
Yeah, to be honest, I agree with you, Patience. It's getting a bit overcrowded for sure. There are a lot of agencies out there, and the podcasts are, really popular right now. So, it's getting a bit crowded for sure. But if you're focusing on niche markets, you will always find your market, and you can always find clients for those markets. So you just have to go down to the niche. That's for sure.
Tell us how to find the right podcast to approach. Tell us the whole process.
Sure. Yeah, of course. I mean, first of all, you have to do your research. I mean, it's a lot of research involved. iTunes and Listen Notes are your good friends. You have to go there and you have to check out podcasts. What would be the best fit for your business, for yourself? So first of all, you have to know exactly what you do and what you're looking for so you can do a thorough research. And obviously, you have to get ready. You have to have a couple of topics and talking points, a bio ready, a one-pager ready to get started and to approach podcasts. That's all have to be ready and done before even think about to get in touch with them. And, when you go to a podcast, check whether the podcast has guests, not only a solo show. And it's also really important to know that beforehand. So you have to do your research thoroughly before you start anything.
Tell my audience about the magic moment, the day it all suddenly went right for you.
The magic moment. I think the magic moment was when we booked our first client, and that was back in the COVID time started, and we were just so excited about it. And then the second client came and the third one. So it's actually not only one moment, but the moments when you get your, I would say first 5 clients, 10 clients. And yeah, that's magical because, you are on the right path. Yeah, absolutely.
I know since you've been into the agency booking, you've met entrepreneurs and you've met inspiring entrepreneurs as well. But can anyone be an entrepreneur, or are some people more cut out for it than others?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, there are some people we have keynote speakers and they're definitely cut out for the job and they have enough confidence, to talk on podcast shows. There are some people who are a bit more reserved, but if you do if you do podcasting and if you do start with smaller shows, medium-sized shows, and you do it every week, every month, and you get into the habit doing the podcast shows, you will be good at it. So you have to be cut out for it, but it's not a rule. I mean, if you practice something, you'll be good at it. So that's my opinion.
What have you learned from business as a whole?
I learned that you always have to show up no matter what. It can be good day, bad day. You can be sick or not, or, you just have to show up and just keep on going and do your job and be persistent and consistent. That's what I learned.
What are you still doing in the way you work that you just know you have to stop doing?
That's a great question. I'm trying to, if you think about reducing working hours and trying to focus on on certain jobs and certain parts, and try to have more team members and delegate the job, what we're doing.
What is the most dangerous belief an entrepreneur can have?
I think it's important not to always work in your business, but on your business as well. And I think we keep losing the focus many times during our entrepreneurial life, but we have to focus on that as well, because sometimes we're just getting loose in all the job we have to do. And sometimes we are micromanaging our job, but we have to look at the bigger picture always. So, yeah.
Thank you. Tell us how to build a relationship with the host.
My opinion is that, the hosts are people like us. So we are all people and we are all the same. So we just have to get in touch with them. And my favorite platform to get in touch with hosts is LinkedIn. I use it a lot. And yesterday I had a chat with one of my host friends, and she told me how important for her podcast business, to keep in touch with people on LinkedIn. So that's how I try to approach people and get in touch with them. And just ask those questions and ask them, how are you? And, do you like to have guests on your podcast? Do you accept guests? Not just pitching someone into the podcast, but try to be nice with them. Try to listen to their episodes and tell them how good they are and what you learn from them. And they appreciate it. Leave a review for them on iTunes. They'd be so happy to have that. So just be human, be nice, be gentle with other people, and that would relate to the business as well.
How do you get yourself back on track when something goes wrong?
That's another great question, Patience. Well, I always I'm a kind of part-time artist, and I love making collages and textile artworks and stuff. So when I'm really stressed or when I'm fed up with the world, then I'm doing some art, especially in the evenings, or I listen to my audiobooks, I listen to music, or I spend time with my family, with my son. And that's how I can get back on track and be, more relaxed and do my business and do my stuff.
What is the most valuable thing you have ever given away?
I think the most valuable things that I ever given is like an advice that I got is like that focus on being a go-giver rather than a go-getter. And that I think that's so important in business to focus on these things, that to give people, to help people, and not just focusing on the money part of your business and what you get from it, but what you give to other people. I think that's more important. And that's, I think, the most valuable advice that I ever got.
What is one thing that has contributed to your success?
I think how my parents raised me, that helped me to get where I am today. And because they always told me that you can do it, you can do anything you want, you just have to believe in it. And that was always so important. And that's what I try to do, for example, with my son as well. So that's so important from childhood, and that would apply in our business as well.
What grounds you?
Yeah, that's my family and my son for sure, and my mom. The people around me, they ground me. That's for sure.
In your business, do you have a mentor or a coach yourself?
Yeah, I mean, my husband has a coach, and he's our coach, and he is actually with us from the beginning when we started the podcast business, and he gave us a lot of great advices from the beginning for sure.
What is the most valuable thing your coach or your mentor has told you?
Actually, that we have to connect with people and network with people a lot. And that would help us to get where we want, because you have to interact with people, especially in the podcast world. It's just so important to have a good relationship with the host and with your clients as well. So networking, connecting, you have to focus on that, because sometimes we lose our importance of that. But it's really important on a long term to network and to connect with people, because that's business is all about.
What is one thing no one knows about you?
That's funny. Yeah, I love romantic books, and now everybody knows about me who listens to your show.
Well, you're going to invent something else. Wow, that's really nice. What is the most important question to ask someone who has bought from you?
Are you satisfied with my service? Because I always interested in their feedback. So it's really important for us, because with your customers' feedback, you can always improve yourself. Are you on a wrong path, or are you on the good path? So what's going on? And that's only the feedback that you need from your clients. So, and I do that with them. I call them up and a couple of times a year. So we catch up with them and how is it going? Are you satisfied with this? Please tell me your experience about the podcast you've been on. And are there any good, bad experiences? So yeah, I always do that. So I think that's important.
Let's talk about your business. Tell us more about your podcast agency. Who can join and how can we join it?
We help, our boutique agency called Podcast Connection helps entrepreneurs to connect podcast shows, and we organize all basically the interviews for them. It's a done for you service. We do everything. We fill out all the forms. We send all those emails. We do everything for you. You just have to show up on the day of the interview. And it sounds very simple, but it's a complicated job for sure. And you can find us on the podcastconnections.co website, and you can get in touch with us there.
What is your perfect clientele?
For us, it doesn't even matter how many figures we're talking about, as long as our ideal client is someone who trusts our knowledge and experience. We are looking for entrepreneurs with established businesses who have stories to share and they want to share their knowledge and help others. That's so important.
There will be more from Naomi in a moment. If you are listening to this on a podcasting platform and you're encouraged by Naomi's journey, please go to our website at onlinesuccessjourney.com. In addition to the amazing free content, you can work direct with me. Check out my course, Success: How to Set Goals and Double Your Productivity, a course for achieving success in work and life, when you visit onlinesuccessjourney.com. The site has a ton of audio clips from hundreds of successful entrepreneur guests' journeys, all there to help you find the path to your own online success journey. Check it out. That's onlinesuccessjourney.com. Now, Naomi, I would love for you to share more with my audience if you're up for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Do you watch movies or read books?
I love both. I would say 50% books and 50% Netflix for sure.
Tell us, what is your favorite book that has some relevance to being an entrepreneur?
My all-time favorite is The Go-Giver by Bob Burg. As I mentioned, the go-giver type of personality I have. And yeah, Bob Burg, The Go-Giver for sure. And I'm so lucky because I'm connected with him on LinkedIn. And I follow him, and sometimes he replies to things that I write. And yeah, he's amazing. He's an amazing person.
If your business was down to its last $100, how would you invest it?
I would start another business.
If you are going to keep a note to yourself in your pocket every day, what would be written on it?
Just keep going. That's my motto for forever.
Can you tell us how to stand out with your podcast pitch?
Yes, you have to you have to have a unique approach, and you have to focus on what the podcast, does. So first of all, focus on listen to a couple of episodes and be familiar with that podcast. So you will know how to approach the host and how to be unique. Listen to those episodes and tell what you liked about the podcast. Leave a review. That's how you can be unique, and that's how you can have a unique approach to get in touch with the hosts.
And when and how can you follow up?
When and how? That's a good question, because some people forget to follow up on podcast shows, but you have to do, because emails can end up in spam, and the podcast hosts are extremely busy. I know, because I know a lot of them, and I know they are pretty busy all the time. So the good thing is that what our approach is, like, after the first email, try to wait a couple of days. I would say sometimes like 5-7 days. So you just give them time, especially now especially the summer season, and everybody is even busier than usual. So wait like a couple of days and then try to follow up. And you can try to follow up one more time, like a second time after a couple of days. But yeah, at least like 2 times. That's my advice.
When should I give up on following up?
Good question. Never do that. You can't overdo it either, obviously, because you can be like too much. But I had podcasts, to be honest, that like I had a client and I followed up the email that I sent about a year ago, and the host told me, it's like, oh my God, I never received your first email, or I don't know, I might deleted it or something happened. So it's like, but I would love to have her on the show. And it's like, oh, that's cool. Let's do it then. But that was like, I followed it up after a year when we went through our list. So yeah, I would say never give up, just keep going.
Wow. So anyone else also sends me email. Sometimes I'll read it and I'll be like, okay, I am going to actually reply it. And then somehow I get carried away and I don't. Please keep following. Just send me.
You always reply to me, by the way. You always reply to me. So yeah, that's fine.
So thank you. It might take me a couple of days.
My strategy is to, in the morning when I open all my lovely emails there, so I just when I open one and when I can, I know a solution for that problem, so I just reply straight away and I never close it again. So I finish with one and the next one, because if I go back and if I have to go back, I may forget all about it. So I try to focus one by one, very quickly in the morning, the easy ones that they don't require too much work. So I just go through them very quickly in a shorter time frame. Yeah.
What is your next chapter?
Next chapter. Wow. The next chapter is focusing on working a bit less in our business and more on our business. That's our next chapter, definitely, which in the first stage right now. Yeah. So we have to focus on that next chapter and have to focus on scaling our business as well in the future. Yeah, that's going to be our next chapter for sure.
Do you feel like you succeeded or like you're only on the way?
I think what we have reached so far in a very short time frame, I think we definitely succeeded, but there's always, room to improve. And so there's always room to improve. So yeah, that's so relative. So when you're succeeded, in a way we have succeeded, but maybe we never, yeah. So yeah, it's a tricky question for sure.
Will you ever stop?
No, never.
Remind us how we can connect with you.
You can connect with us on our website. It's podcastconnections.co, or you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm very active. I'm there every day. It's Noémi Beres, and you can find me there.
Naomi, it's been great to have you to share your online success journey with us.
Thank you so much, Patience. I really enjoyed our interview together.
You are welcome. Remember, success is a journey. Don't wait. Let's start the journey. Patience and Naomi.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to Patience and her guest and want you to know that there are hundreds of episodes available at onlinesuccessjourney.com. Patience would like to thank you for listening to the podcast, and she has a free gift for you on her website, including an audio compilation of her guests' best tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. Additionally, there are special clips of over 250 episodes that have never aired on the podcast and are only available to members of the Online Success Journey. Check the website and click on Join Now to get free and instant access. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps us each chart our own path. So make sure you're subscribed on the favorite platform you have to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the Online Success Journey and listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review the podcast at Apple Podcasts and other sites. We appreciate your help and your willingness to share the journey. One last thing. If you're feeling a bit lost or overwhelmed on your own journey, Patience can help. Check out our coaching sessions on how to set goals and double your productivity while you're at the website. Working with Patience is a great way to get back on the right path. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.